Hello, it's Rachel, and I'm here Sunday night. I'm actually in Fremont, California, outside of San Francisco, at my friend's house, and I just realized it's Sunday evening, and I've been in a week-long, I guess been an 8-day leadership training, so we ended today, and I just realized I didn't post my Friday pause video because we were going in full swing, and I was so into my training, I couldn't think of anything else basically. So I figured, wait, I'll make a video tonight and share a little bit about what I was doing. So I spent a week at the Right Foundation with about 100 other leaders, and we were all looking at the theme of radical self-care and what does that mean in this day and age, knowing we have pandemics, social revolutions going on, and people all around us, including ourselves, are feeling overwhelmed, burned out, in fear, or feeling anxiety, or just that pressure of really not knowing what's next, on top of all the other everyday stressors. And what I walk away with 8 days later are many, many things, but I think one of the themes that I want to pass along is this notion that radical self-care is actually really being aware of being kind to yourself. And we talked about these three themes, these self names. We talked about three names: self-compassion, self-efficacy, and self-affirmation. And all three of those things can be practiced in the moment. So if you're feeling like you have too much to do, or kicking yourself in the brain like, oh, dumb me or silly me, or probably worse than that, you can take a moment and actually stop and choose differently. And it's hard because when you're in those high velocity moments or tasks or things you got to get done, it's like the last thing you think about. And if you're feeling fear about what to do next, or maybe taking on new challenges, a lot of us risked more, including myself. I mean, this whole week is about experientially testing the waters of what you may not think is possible around leadership. So the idea is that you're in your fear most of the week, but you're also practicing the skills of self-compassion. We talked about Kristen Neff's work and her 5 steps on how to get out of fear and turn that into self-compassion. We talked about really going underneath any fear or pain that you have. Like, being in your pain is one of the most honorable things you can do. And that's easier said than done, but that's something I actually walked away with and shared in the training. So I think, so that was self-compassion. Self-affirmation is kind of just holding yourself in a way that is affirming for you. So it doesn't mean you're poo-pooing something and saying like, forget it, or I don't have time, or I'm too busy. It's like, hang on a second, like, let me just be with myself for a moment. Let me acknowledge how I feel. Let me be tender. We put our hands on our face, or if the men seem to put their hand on the shoulder, they like that a little better. My good man, or there, like, you can do those things depending on your preference. And then self-efficacy is this third leg of the stool, which is really all about knowing that you can do and be who you want to be, and having the faith to get there. And to me, that's a really scary concept because it's a big word to begin with and to remember, but it's also a little daunting, right? Like, wow, what if I really could do all the things I wanted to do? What does that mean? And so those three things are what I practiced all week. And I really, I guess my takeaway is that there's always more. I learned that there's more for me in terms of my leadership, and I want more. And I want that for you. I want all of us in our world, whatever you're doing, no matter if you don't have a job right now, or you're overwhelmed, or you're with your kids at home during the summer because there's no summer camp, or you're fighting your own racial justice crusades or participating, all of that can be done in the service to your authenticity and knowing that you can do it. And that's where we get in our own way. And as my coach Bob Wright says, the only thing out there in the world is what we project on it. And meaning, like, all my judgments, all my fears, all of the things I'm not willing to own for myself, my unfinished business, is out there in the world that I see. And that's the anger and the pain and the fighting and like, blaming and shaming. And it's only because they're my projections, and or anyone's projections. And so I just had a very fulfilling week, and my heart is full, and I wanted to share it with you. So there you go. I hope you learned that. It's a pause Sunday, I guess, today. And leave me a comment below what resonates with you. We talked about resonance as well. There's so much I could share, but I'm going to stick to what I just shared, those 3 things, and self-compassion. And hopefully I'll get into that a little bit more next Friday. But share one thing, one takeaway from this, or what you're feeling, just one word in this video to claim for yourself. That is my vision for you as you watch this. All right, friends, over and out, and have a wonderful evening. You are worth it.